Dylan Volman, and I am joined by TK, Andrew, and Jason. Let's jump right back into the actions. Pacers and Heat had Game 6. Heat potentially could have put the Pacers away, but Pacers fought back in the game and won Game 6 to tie the series 3-3 to force a Game 7. David West had a double-double with 14 rebounds and 11 points. Chris Bosh had a surprising only 5 points, a career playoff low. LeBron James, King James, 29 points, 6 assists, and 7 rebounds. The really MVP of the game, Roy Hibbert, 24 points, 11 rebounds. However, his comments after the game were not the MVP. Guys, what do you think of this game?
Well, this was not Pacers Heat. This was Pacers LeBron. Maybe you could add in Jonas Haslam in there as well. David West, he had a respiratory infection and still had a double-double. And Lance Stevenson, only 4 points, but still 12 rebounds. So he did make himself a presence positively from the Indiana standpoint. And the fact that Paul George had 28 points, and he's been a great three-point shooter. Roy Hibbert, 24 points and 11 rebounds. So I want to ask you guys, how can the Heat contain Roy Hibbert in Game 7?
Well, you need Chris Bosh. 5 points. He was a non-presence in the entire game. The Heat picked him up to be a physical presence down low, and last year he was somewhat of a presence, but this year he has been a crybaby. He has been, oh no, the ball bounced off my finger, let me go cry to the trainer and miss 4 games. So he needs to step up, become physical, and that's the only way they're going to win.
Andrew, I couldn't agree with you more. They got Bosh to be a center. He has been a weak power forward. I think I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but at the end of Chris Bosh's contract, if I'm the Heat, I'm releasing Bosh because he can score some points, but you already have LeBron away for that. They got him to be a physical center to guard guys like Hibbert, like Dwight Howard. The physical guys, he has not lived up to that potential. Why do you guys think he hasn't?
Well, I think he didn't have much pressure in Toronto because they're the Raptors, you're not supposed to do anything, but maybe he doesn't handle pressure as well as LeBron James does now anyway. So maybe he can't handle the pressure, doesn't like the national spotlight. And honestly, I think that Mike Miller and Udonis Haslam should start in place of Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. I think Dwayne Wade is still being bothered by that knee. He needs to be checked out. I'm not saying it's like a torn ACL or anything, but it's clearly bothering him, and that's why he shot 3 for 8 in Game 5, and it is being a factor. I think he could be scoring 20, 25 points without the knee problem. Brown was the only player on the Heat who shot over 10 points. The Heat had 10 assists in the game. Pacers had 19.
In Game 5, LeBron referred to his game performance as going back to his Cleveland days. That's really not what Miami wants. Miami wants them to be a very good team player, maybe one of the main team players, but not to take it all himself. However, with Dwayne Wade being injured and Chris Bosh doing virtually nothing, he may have to do that. But as we've seen before, Cleveland went to one NBA championship and lost that. That has not been a very effective method. You said putting in Mike Miller and Udonis Haslam for Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Any other methods you guys think to not revert to LeBron's Cleveland days?
Well, hope something good happens and pray.
Pray?
Pray. Pray to the Lord.
I mean, personally, I saw Mike Miller just sound off on threes. The veteran, he's doing very, very good. I mean, he's had injuries in the past, but this playoffs and this season especially, he's looked pretty good. I don't necessarily agree with starting him over Dwayne Wade, even though Dwayne Wade does have that nagging injury, but definitely see him getting some more minutes in the next game, and Udonis Haslam.
It would have been 90-65 without Mike Miller. I'm just saying.
That is very
really
true.
Would have. He saved it from complete embarrassment. Of course, it was embarrassment, and now you have all the pressure on the Heat in Game 7. They're supposed to win this series. Every single ESPN expert picked the Heat. I think it was either in 5 games, 6 games, or 7 games, but every single expert in ESPN that is known to man picked the Heat.
Wow, really?
I believe
Really
so.
now?
I mean, I'm really surprised by that
Heat?
because I mean,
I believe there's
The Heat are supposed to win?
well, first of all, I mean,
Look it up on ESPN.com.
I'm not gonna-
computer, because I am almost positive every single expert picked the Heat to beat the Pacers. It was either in 5 games, 6 games, or 7 games. I don't think anyone predicted a sweep.
well, this is the truth here. I mean, I'm not. This is the truth here. I was predicting the Pacers to win this series.
7 games.
And this is not saying just because the Pacers lost. I am legitimately, I did, and I promise you all
what's
of
your reasoning?
My reasoning was, I think
I hate the Heat.
you mentioned. I think exactly what LeBron said. Going back to Cleveland days with Dwayne Wade's injury, I do not believe in Chris Bosh personally. I don't think he's a very good player. I believe he's very overrated. With Dwayne Wade's injury, I think I could see LeBron referring back to his Cleveland days, which he has done, which did obviously not work out a lot. That's why I picked the Pacers. Plus, I'm a huge Roy Hibbert fan. Call me a Roy Hibbert bandwagoner. Just a 7'3", huge presence inside the lane, defensively and offensively, just unstoppable. Chris Bosh cannot even come close to his athletic ability.
And Roy Hibbert has stepped up in this series. He's really the reason that they are at this point. It would not be a Game 7 without Roy Hibbert. Certainly Paul George has been a big help from beyond the arc, but definitely give credit to Roy Hibbert.
All right. With this Game 7 coming, what are some keys for both teams they can use to try to win this Game 7 and go to the NBA Finals?
Chris Bosh for the Heat.
Bosh.
He needs to step up. I think if he doesn't, that's the game, because Roy Hibbert will run all over him, and he will get 25 points in Game 7, and that will be the deciding factor for the Pacers' win.
Mario Chalmers needs to become a point guard, have, say, 20 points, 10 assists. The Heat need to pass. I mentioned Pacers 19 assists, and this is a backcourt that includes George Hill and DJ Augustin. They're not all-star point guards. The Pacers depend on their front court, and they can clearly, because they've proven they're the only team that they're one of the only teams that has a winning record against the Heat. I'm going to say they're 5-4, including the regular season. So I think Mario Chalmers needs to become a point guard, and they need to out-rebound the Heat and also score more points in the paint. I think the team that's won every game in the series has scored the most points in the paint, so that's definitely going to be a big part. Chris Anderson will be back after his one-game suspension, so I think that will be a help for the Heat.
People say the Heat do not have a lot of assets. I really disagree with that. I mean, Udonis Haslem, Mike Miller, Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole, they're all good players who can somewhat get the job done. LeBron does not need to refer back to his Cleveland days. He can use his assets. Do you guys think they have enough assets to win it?
I think they have assets. I don't know if that's enough to win it. I think definitely they can put up a fight against the Pacers in Game 7. But based on last night's performance, I think Pacers have the Heat game plan down. They know what they have to do to beat them, and they can do it.
Now, Andrew, David West had a double-double and playing through an injury. Why do you think he could play so well with an injury, yet Dwayne Wade couldn't?
Dwayne Wade's a prima donna. He had his taste of success, and it's, in my opinion, it's now passing, because all the spotlight of his earlier days in Miami, it's all gone because LeBron, and he's jealous, I think. I feel like he used to be the top dog down in South Beach, and now it's LeBron, and he needs attention. So if playing through an injury and not doing well is what gets him attention, I feel like he will do that, even though it's bad for the team.
And this is what the Heat were afraid of. Last season they said, okay, well maybe that won't be a factor, Wade being jealous of LeBron stealing the spotlight, because they won the NBA championship. But it looks like you're right, it could be one of the factors, Dwayne Wade trying to get attention. It's not ruling out, it's a very possible factor and a great point. You guys have any other points you want to add to this?
Well, if that's really the problem with Dwayne Wade, there's no difference between him and a 16-year-old girl.
Wow. Hope Dwayne Wade's not listening to this one. Jeez.
Oh.
You're lucky they're not coming to Boston anytime soon, because, I don't know, I think Dwayne Wade's going to find your house, and, jeez. Bold statements there by Tom Kelly. One of the greatest rivalries in sports comes to a rubber match tonight. Red Sox versus Yankees. Yankees taking Game 1 4-1. Red Sox taking Game 2 11-1. Guys, who do you think will win this historic rivalry rubber match?
I think it's going to be the Red Sox. They have the momentum coming out of last night's great win. And the Yankees, they didn't show up last night. The Red Sox, Mike Napoli, grand slam. He has the momentum. He's playing great, and he will bring the Red Sox past the Yankees tonight.
Napoli's grand slam, that looked like a defensive I mean, he looked like he was down in the count, just trying not to strike out. And he has the power to make that and turn that into a grand slam. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I also like the Red Sox. They are first in runs this season, and this is a resilient club. We saw against Cleveland, they had a comeback in the 8th and one in the 9th. And it has to do, I think, with bringing in John Farrell, and also the fact that getting rid of Josh Beckett, Carl Crawford, who's now injured, Adrian Gonzalez, and bringing in guys like Johnny Gomes, a funny guy to keep it light, and I think also it's helped the pitching. Felix Tebron struggled. Dempster's been getting a lot of strikeouts, and I think he's going to find his stride. Buckles struggling with a little bit of injury. I believe Lester's going tonight.
No, Buckles.
Buckles is going tonight. He's been great, as is Lester, so I think the Red Sox can win this rubber match.
Now, well, this is Red Sox-Yankees, and it's always a great rivalry to watch. Something just feels like it's not as historic as we're used to. Why do you think that is?
I think Steinbrenner died. That's it. No controversy. Nothing to add fire to the boiling pot. You know.
I agree with you there. I mean, also you have to have the fact that
Pedro.
a lot of injuries. Jeter, Pettit's actually coming back tomorrow, but Pettit will be out for this game tonight and has been out for the series. And you're right. Steinbrenner was that guy. He was always in the newspaper getting these big stories, and that's what flared it. And especially with these injuries, the Yankees team isn't what it used to be. The Mets swept the Yankees in the Subway Series.
What?
And then they got
You're
swept by
kidding.
the Marlins.
Jason
You're
is
kidding.
Absolutely
You were
terrible.
kidding.
Jason was pretty happy about that being a Mets fan.
Jason,
Yes, I was
Mets.
certain.
But the Yankees were totally shocked. That almost never happened. Really, the Mets even beat the Yankees. It just
Right,
was.
they're pitching in 34 strikeouts in 4 games. Their starting pitching, except for Matt Harvey, has really been terrible, except for really that series. And then gets up by the Marlins. The Marlins have won 2 series, both against the Mets.
There's
terrible.
one firepower I believe that the Red Sox have is playing against Kevin Youkilis in the Yankees.
I hate you.
To go from a Red Sox uniform to a Yankees uniform, there is no bigger betrayal in all of sports.
Johnny
Damon knows that.
Johnny Damon knows about that. It's happened before, and that, so I think, lights a fire under the butt of the Red Sox. That gets them pumped.
Yeah.
So the Yankees aren't the most pumped, I think the Red Sox are pretty pumped tonight. Who do you think would be a great player to look out from both teams?
I think the Red Sox big boys. Mike Napoli, the surprising Daniel Nava. I think David Ortiz, all the top dogs for the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, for the Yankees, you got Vernon Wells and Lyle Overbay, as well as Travis Hafner have stepped up in the absences of Mark Teixeira, Derek Jeter, and Alex Rodriguez. Of course, Teixeira is back. So, what do you think what do you think Yankees should do when A-Rod and Jeter come back? Assuming they come back this season, what do they do with Vernon Wells, Lyle Overbay, and Travis Hafner if they're still performing well?
That's a great question. It's not going to be easy. I think when when these guys first come back, you'll see a lot of rotation. One night Overbay, one night Jeter, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then after they see who's doing what and who's performing well after a couple weeks, they'll make their decisions about who should be in the starting lineup. And that's really the smartest way to go, because you don't want to just take all those guys out from performing so well and just immediately put the injured guys back in. That's not really a smart
A-Rod,
move.
who knows if he's going to play?
Exactly.
But you're paying him so much money, so how can you
Not the play.
be basically throwing all that money away?
Well, to me, the Yankees' money has never been a problem. And if they're going to trade a little bit of
Money is an
wasted
object
money
in New
York.
for a win, I think that they'll do it in a heartbeat.
A little bit. It's basically more
It's their
payroll
mo-
than the Astros have.
It's more payroll than the
It's
Astros.
almost
But
more
Astros
than
are
any
all
of
the
that's
guy-
active.
No, but you're
Millions
correct.
and billions of dollars not to play.
You're correct.
Yeah.
It's almost more.
But you got to think, Yankees are no different than another team. They will do anything to win. Winning is the goal of every baseball thing.